My immediate family, my children, I've got a 10-year-old daughter, a 13-year-old daughter who's ridiculously talented, by the way, in the arts. She leaves me for dead. I'll have the crowd and my clients and stuff going, "Oh, that's so amazing. That's great, you're doing great." But my family knows that there's more in me, and they'll be like, "Hey, not to be rude, Mom, but you can do better." Or the blunt, "Oh, that's a bit shit." And I'm like, "I know, right?" And it's just so nice to have their honest, raw reactions and their love and support of seeing the gold in me and seeing where I can be pushed artistically. They're a massive part of my inspiration. One of my favorite quotes growing up was, "Big doors swing on little hinges." And I think in life sometimes we mistake these small, seemingly insignificant moments of our life when they can really be the door hinge that changes our path. The summer before university, I went to Brazil to teach girls basketball, like in a little town in the middle of nowhere. And in that moment, I couldn't speak the language, so I grabbed a sheet of paper and I started doing stick figures. And I was trying to communicate to them that, hey, you're loved, you've got a great purpose for your life, because they were from the slums. And I was just trying to put courage and emphasis of beauty into their life where they didn't have it. And I'll never forget this moment with these 12 girls sitting around me and this little sheet of paper with stick figures, and they all started crying. Because they felt loved, they felt valued, and they felt seen. And I realized I didn't even need to speak Portuguese in order to communicate that to those young women. And that was the pivot. That was my door hinge moment where I realized this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is I want to speak life and beauty over people through this unique art thing called art. And so that's my story of how I got into art. I personally have found art to be the most cathartic way to tap into what I'm thinking and feeling when words just can't express it. Whether I take a big black marker and go, if I stab a canvas with a knife, whatever emotions I'm feeling, I'm able to express them through my art in a way that words fail me. In hindsight, I thought my art would get way better. But in actuality, the past 3 years, my art has almost become childlike and lost a lot of the depth it had prior. And what I think, in some ways it's better because I'm free and I'm happy while I create it, and there's not some hidden message of depression, come save me. But there's also this childlike innocence of me trying to find my voice and figure out who I am in a way that I hadn't done before. So in many ways I'm finding that I feel like my art will just start getting better in the next decade or so as I become more confident in who I am. Well, why would you ever paint anything than what's on your heart to paint? Why are you operating in fear? Which I have to laugh at, because one of the creative rules of thumb is to live beyond fear. And I feel like here I have been speaking on it for years, but I've allowed my own fear and insecurities to rule me when I should just take a leap of faith and just paint what I want. Sorry, just love watching paint drip. When you say the word luck, I think it's like all these crazy opportunities in my life have just happened because I'm lucky. I don't see it like that. I see more of that. I see where the rain is falling and I walk under it. It's kind of like you see the opportunities and you head your body in that direction. You speak. I really believe in the power of manifesting things with the way we speak. For instance, I was standing at the Opera House one day and I pointed to it and said out loud, I'm gonna paint in you one day. And I visualized, I saw it, and this was a bit more of one of those freaky cool moments in life where within 5 minutes, my phone rang and an agent called me up and said, hey, you available next week to paint at the Opera House? And I was just like, yeah, let me check my calendar. I'm so ready. But I don't see myself as lucky so much as the power of manifesting your thoughts, seeing beauty in everything and opportunity in everything. I think a lot of people have more luck than they realize. When I lost my faith of 36 years, I wasn't just someone who attended church and believed. I was someone who was actually preaching. I was on the worship team. I had studied ancient biblical Hebrew. I was heavily involved. It was like every part of my day, my week, my being. I moved to Australia actually to go to Bible school. So when I lost that root system, it felt like a death. I felt like I had no clue who I was. My entire being was wrapped up in that. I lost my connection to my parents because their belief is wrapped up in that too, and I can't be gay and be their daughter at the same time. And I put a red blindfold on myself to symbolize, hey, now looking back at that woman, I was completely blind to the world at large. At the age of 19, when I realized I was gay, it was a death sentence. And from the age of 19 for 20 years, every birthday, I would beg God to kill me because that, in a nutshell, the way I was raised, they're obsolete. You cannot be one and the other. So it was a living nightmare. And on the external, I was like the super happy, crazy, happy Larry, whatever the word is, happy, fun-loving woman. But behind closed doors, I was miserable and depressed. And so looking back, I was in a cage, though I thought I wasn't. And for 20 years, I lived in a cage that almost killed me. A big death and sorrow process, and now I definitely see myself still as a spiritual person, but very open-minded to seeing us more connected through energy. I think when you break us all down, that we're just like particles of energy, that everything's energy from money to... So I'm like kind of seeing it scientifically, but at the same time, the beauty of it. And some days I'm more confident in it than others. If I could go back 20 years, I would shake myself by the shoulders and say, don't let any adult, no matter how much you respect their life opinion, don't let anybody tell you who you are and try to shape you. Find your own voice. Shaking that 20-year-old girl and said, stop people-pleasing, stop looking to everybody else for approval. Love yourself now, frickin' be yourself now, and it's gonna be okay.